you don't have to do everything by yourself, because it goes back to the knowledge. A lot of successful people, they don't have to have knowledge in everything because they have a great network. When they want to have the best chefs, they call the best chefs. If they want to start a company, they call the best marketers. They don't have to be the best at what they do. When are you going to get tired of not living a fulfilled life? When are you going to get tired of waking up knowing that you could be doing different, knowing that you could be happier, knowing that there's other stuff out there, but you just haven't tapped into them yet? You just haven't reached them yet. In this video, I'm going to give you a visual 5-step breakdown of how you can ultimately reach your potential and do so many more things, live a more fulfilled life, and essentially just get to a better life for yourself. Here are the 5 buckets that you are going to need to fill in order to get to your potential. Think of your potential as being a beautiful garden, right? You have all the seeds, you have all the necessary soil, you have everything great for it, similar to the ideas that you have for yourself, the goals that you have for yourself. You have a good foundation, but if you have no water to pour into that garden, it's never going to flourish and become great, i.e. reach its potential, similar to you. So here are the 5 buckets that you need to fill up so that you're able to actually get to your potential and actually reach a lot of the goals that you want to have for yourself. So here are the 5 buckets really quickly. What you know, which is your knowledge. What you can do, which is your skills. Who you know, your network. What you have, your resources. And what the world thinks of you, your reputation. So first, what you know, your knowledge. Your knowledge comes from things such as books, courses, classes, podcasts. It's very imperative to be specific with your knowledge. A lot of times we're not specific with our knowledge, and it comes from the fact that as children, we are taught we have to be all around good. We are taught we can't hone in and focus on one thing until we get older. And then it's like, what do you want to do with your life? Think about school, right? When you were in middle school, high school, you could have an A in reading, a B in math, a C in science, an A in gym. And what is everyone going to tell you to do? Your parents. Why do you have a C? Why do you have a B? Pull up those grades. I'm not saying you should be mediocre, but those are passing grades. Why are we not investing in the A? Look at the classes that you have an A in. Maybe that means that you really like those things. Maybe those are things that you could potentially do in your future. I say that to say the issue is we don't have honed in knowledge. We're so used to devoting so much time to trying to learn everything. And I talked about this idea a little while ago, the 80-20 rule. People don't realize 20% of your efforts, 20% that you put in, the work, actually yields 80% of your success. This idea was coined by economists in 1896 in Italy. He noticed that 80% of Italy's economy was owned by 20% of individuals, and he had a garden. And he noticed that 80% of his garden was being created by 20% of the plants, was making all of this. I say that to say, figure out your 20%, hone in. What happens to a lot of people, right? The reason why your knowledge never reaches your potential is because you say, I want to become a lash tech. I want to start doing lashes. I want to get into lashes. Okay, so what do you have to do? You probably got to take some courses. You probably got to take some classes. You might have to read business books, whatever the case may be. But you know what you also want to do? Oh, you want to learn how to get that body together. So you watched a whole bunch of TikToks about how to get your glutes together. You watching a whole bunch of videos about how to get your protein together and the right protein to consume. And then, oh, but aren't you also trying to get your license? So then you're also reading a whole bunch of books about trying to get your license and all these other things. I'm not saying stop your life because you're trying to focus on something, but I'm saying you need to be specific and intentional about what you're focusing on and realize your knowledge is going to grow when you hone in on it. If you're trying to get an A in every single class, eventually that one A that you first got, that one thing that you first liked, the one thing that could have yielded you 80% of the work is going to start getting more minute, and it's going to stop producing as much because you're not giving it as much care. So I say that to say the first step is building up your knowledge. You have to start learning, and you learn from different things such as this. Then it goes into the next thing, and it actually does happen in order. Once you have a knowledge, that's how you have a skill. Your skill is your ability to apply the knowledge. Another thing that happens with a lot of people is there's a lot of people that have knowledge about doing things. They read the books, they listen to the podcast, but they never actually apply that thing. They never actually use that thing and do that thing. And I say that to say, if you have a whole bunch of knowledge, it means nothing if you don't have a skill. Like it has to be a certain amount of time where you're like, okay, I've read this book, I've read this book, I've listened to that podcast. This is when I'm going to actually apply it. Your skills are very imperative because your skill is actually where the value comes from. I've talked about it before in another video, but you don't want to become a forever student. That individual that knows all this stuff and has all this information in their brain, but they never use it. Because there's honestly no difference between you and the person that doesn't know that stuff because neither of you apply it, neither of you have a skill to use it. And so I think that's imperative that sometimes you sit back and ask yourself, do I use this knowledge? What about this thing can I apply? And what about this thing do I apply? Next, once you have the skill, is your network. Your network is very imperative. And I want you to understand that you need a network. I don't want you to feel like you can go into this thing called life, go into this thing called growth and not have a network. There's nobody that reaches great heights by themselves. As much as people like to say they're self made, as much as people like to say, oh, I did this by myself and I did that by myself, every great person will tell you the use of a network, the having of a network is very imperative. And I want you to know you probably already have, most people have a network. You do the friends that you hang around, the people that you hang around. And one thing I want you to ask yourself is what is the value of your network right now? Because the more valuable a network is, the more useful a network is. And the way it works is when you have knowledge and then you have a skill, right? And you start using that skill, you usually start hanging around other individuals, i.e., your network, that are similar to that skill, or they can use that skill for themselves. And it becomes a give and take. If you are really good at starting businesses, right? You're really good at starting businesses and you're really good at doing this and you're really good doing good at that. Do you have to be perfect at knowing the best workouts? No. Do you have to be perfect at knowing the best ways to, find cars? Do you have to, like, I say that to say very random examples. I was trying to think this off my head, but once you start becoming valuable, i.e., having knowledge and skills, other valuable people want to hang around you. And so you can start taking and giving from people. That's what a network should be. It should be that you can be able to take and give away from people depending on the situation so that you don't have to do everything by yourself because it goes back to the knowledge. A lot of successful people, they don't have to have knowledge in everything because they have a great network. When they want to have the best chefs, they call the best chefs. If they want to start a company, they call the best marketers. They don't have to be the best at what they do. I recently saw this quote from Steve Jobs, sorry, the creator of Apple, and he said something to the effect of, we hire people not to teach them, we hire people to teach us. When he hires people, he hires the best people for the simple fact that once he hires the best people, they're so good at doing their job, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's creation of a product, that they teach the company this is the way we should be doing it. And so I want you to think about that when it comes to your network. How valuable is your network? Do you have a network of individuals that you can give and take from and that can bring value to your life? Because a lot of times that's why you haven't reached your potential. That's why you aren't where you want to be yet, because the people who are around you are like crabs in a bucket. That's what happens to a lot of people. And so people say crabs in a bucket, but I never really heard nobody explain it. Basically, the way it works is if you ever put crabs in a bucket, you will notice that they rarely get out because once a crab gets up, another crab pulls it down. Once another crab gets up, another crab pulls it down. And they're never able to get up because they're all trying to push on top of each other. And when you are struggling and when your network is not of value, you become a crab in a bucket mindset because this person is struggling with they haven't reached their potential, right? They're not nowhere near it because they don't have no knowledge and they don't have no skills. So they just trying to get by and do what they got to do. So yes, they don't want you to be better than them. Yes, they don't want you to reach heights and reach potential. But when people are building up their buckets, filling up their buckets, they're going to want to be around people who buckets are already filled as well. Because like I said, it's a give and a take. And that's another thing too. I want you to think of your friends, think of the people you're around as your network and not your competition. I recently was having a conversation with one of my friends, long story short, and around 2020, 2021, two of my friends started doing nails and they both kind of stopped. Recently, another one of them started doing nails again. And, her and one of her other friends, they had got like a suite or whatever, and they're doing nails and hair and all this other stuff. And so the friend that used to do nails, I'm like, I wanted randomly, I stumbled upon her nail page from 2, 3 years ago. And I'm like, you were actually doing nails really good. Like for a beginner, I was like, you were doing nails really good. Like you possibly should think about doing them again. And she said something to the effect of, oh, she wants to give her other friend her shine because she's starting to do nails again. And I want her to get her shine and not her shine, but like, oh, her attention. Like she's doing nails. I'm going to let her be. if you think like that, you're not thinking like a network. And I told her, I said, this is great that y'all both starting again. Y'all can get to the point where one day y'all can open up a shop together. Like, this is a friend. This is somebody who that you already know. You don't have to worry about, a random person going to business with a random person. You guys can share ideas. But if you don't look at your friends as a network, sometimes it can happen. And it's not necessarily always jealousy, but it's just you don't look at people as a network. And so a lot of times too, you pull people into your life that aren't beneficial to your network. I'm a big advocate of I don't like to be around people who have bad luck. Call it what you want. And don't get me wrong, I am considerate, but if you always falling out with your friends, you always losing a job, you bad for my network. Like, I'm in a place, in a space in my life that I want to grow and I want people around me to grow. And if I see you're not trying to gain knowledge, you ain't trying to gain skills, you ain't trying to gain me. And that's the kind of mindset that you need to have for yourself. And so one thing I want you to ask yourself now is, are you building connections? Are you building relationships with individuals that down the line, you like, you know what? If I want to do this, I know this person. I want to do that, I know that person. These rich people, when they want anything done, they call. They make calls. They don't got to worry about looking around. They get the best of the best. And so I want you to understand that there's no reason why you should have all these skills. You're so great at your job and what you do or whatever you do, and you don't have a network of people to help you that are similar to your industry, that are different in your industry. It's imperative for you to have a network, because that's how you get in similar groups. That's how you get bounced around. And essentially, that's really how you make more money. The next one, you need resources. What you have. I think of resources as being the launch pad to a spaceship. Think about a spaceship. You can't just put a spaceship on a airplane landing strip. You can't just put a spaceship on top of the house. It has to have something very specific, something very strong, because a spaceship takes a lot of power, i.e., your potential. And so your resources are things that you get from having knowledge, applying that knowledge and having skills, and then making your skills valuable with a network. That's another thing too I wanted to bring up. Some people, they have skills, but their skills aren't that valuable and they're not paid that much because they don't have a network. They don't have groups of people that find their skill to be of value. And so you can be the greatest guitar player in the world. You could be the greatest dentist in the world. You could be the greatest violinist in the world. But if you don't have a network of individuals that find that thing to be valuable, you're not going to be making any more than somebody that works at a minimum wage job. So I say that to say this is why resources come into play, because once you have all of these, that's when you're able to acquire money. That's when you're able to acquire assets. I know a few individuals who have businesses and stuff. They have the knowledge, they have the skills, right? Because usually people have two, I feel like, but they don't have the network. They haven't built it up to have a clientele in which they're able to do some of the things that they want to do, a group of individuals that can nurture what they want to do, right? So they're not able to make the money. And I know a lot of individuals who have a lot of knowledge. They may read a lot of books, they may do a lot of courses, whatever the case may be, but they don't know how to apply them. They haven't figured out how to make it into a skill yet. So they haven't even gotten to network. So they definitely haven't gotten to having resources. So I want you to understand that's when you know you've gotten to that place. When you start getting resources, that's the next step in doing. And building up your resources is very imperative because, like I said, you can have all these things, but this is kind of how you're able to use it for yourself. I feel like this is the part where you're really getting to your potential, because once you have the money, it's like, okay, I want to do this, I can do this. I want to do that, I can do that. I have assets. I have, this business. I have that. Like, I have things that can help me, and not even help me, but a lot of those things are actually what you need to have your potential, or like I said, can actually help you get to your potential. And the final one, what the world thinks of you, your reputation. So your reputation is very imperative. And I personally don't feel like you have to be a kiss up. Like, I don't want people to have the idea. I know some people are kind of like, oh, I don't like people and I don't da da da. Well, you don't want to be successful. Like, I like, even going back to the network, those people, I'm not saying you gotta be in everybody's face and you gotta do this, you gotta do that, but you have to build up a reputation that you actually want. I think sometimes people mess themselves up by messing up their reputation, and they think, oh, I have so much knowledge and I have so many skills. We've seen it happen before. People, celebrities are known for doing this and known for doing that. They may have had all this money, and now with cancel culture and all this other stuff, they messed up their reputation. They can't get booked for shows. They can't make no money. They can't get appearances. So your reputation is very imperative. And your reputation essentially is doing what you say you're going to do, essentially. And one thing I want you to understand is your reputation is honestly the difference between people taking you seriously or them not. A great story I actually read in the book that I got this framework from is this guy was saying how his friend name is David. His friend lives in a very rich neighborhood, like maybe Calabasas or Beverly Hills, somewhere in California. And his friend was saying he was outside of his house and there was this guy jogging down the street and he was so tired. He was wearing like jogging clothes, sweats, and all this stuff. And he was like, and he gets to the guy, David, the friend, and he's just talking to him randomly, and he's telling him how he's building AI robots to put inside of houses, how he wants to build a spaceship, how he wants to put computer chips inside of monkeys, and so many different things. Now, if somebody would have ran up to you saying that, you probably would have been like, oh, this person is off their rocker. There's probably something wrong with this person. Like this, yeah. If I would have said that, people would have been like, is she okay? Are you okay? Are you good? It was Elon Musk. Now that I said it was Elon Musk, does it make sense? It does. Because he is like Elon, if you're familiar with what he does, he's done very radical technological stuff like that. What's the difference between Elon Musk and me? If I wasn't say that stuff, it don't make no sense. Nobody's gonna take me seriously, nobody's actually gonna acknowledge me. But just because it's Elon Musk, now those crazy things sound very normal. Why? Because he's built up his knowledge, he's built up his skills, he's built up his network, he's built up his resources, and he has a reputation of doing what he say he's gonna do. So now he's able to reach his full potential. He's able to do some of the crazy stuff that people wouldn't even think about. And not like that, but like that, he's not known to have a reputation like the being the best guy. Like there's a few people who openly don't like a lot of the stuff that he does, but they can't do nothing about it. Why? Because he's built up all of this so well and he has a reputation for doing what he says he's going to do. So anytime he wants to say something, anytime he wants to do something, he's able to do it with the full extent, with the full power, i.e., he's able to pour out of all of his buckets. And that's what I want you to truly understand. You have to be intentional when doing these things. You have to intentionally build up your knowledge. It's not just, oh, I'm just doing this just because. No, you have to intentionally build up your skill, intentionally build up your network, your resources, your reputation. And I think that's when you fully get to your potential. When you finally fill up all these buckets. And like I said, it's in chronological order. It's not just like it might be this or no, it happens in chronological order. But that's what I want you to understand. That's how you truly get to your potential. That's how you get to the point of being able to do all the things that you want to do plus more. But it goes step by step by step. You're going to have to build up your knowledge. Once you have the knowledge, apply it. Once you have that, build a network of individuals that find that valuable. You use it. Now you have the resources. You can build upon it. And then you have the reputation so people take you seriously anytime you say what you're going to do and you could just do it. And you don't have to explain to nobody and you don't have to go back and forth with nobody. It could be the craziest thing, such as putting computer chips inside of monkeys. And people are going to be like, okay, so when you starting that? When that gonna start, just so I'm aware. You don't want to be no offense to me, because if I would say that, like I said, it's crazy. And the final thing I want to leave you guys with is asking yourself, when is the last time you've updated these things? When is the last time you've updated your knowledge, your skills, your network, your resources, your reputation? It's so crazy, but I recently had to upload a video on YouTube, because y'all know that's what I do, about 2 weeks ago. And long story short, I edit my videos on CapCut and then I upload them from CapCut to YouTube and stuff like that. My videos usually, for a 20-minute video, it usually takes like maybe sometimes 30 minutes, give or take. It was a 15-minute video. After an hour and a half, it was only like 20% uploaded. And I'm like, what's going on? I need to upload this video. I gave it 2 hours. It was only like 40% uploaded. I'm like, this video is not going to, I need to upload it today. It's not going to be ready by today. Like, what's going on? Something just told me, update your computer. Mind you, I have been getting alerts telling me to update my computer for a while, but I just been pushing it off. Updated my computer, it downloaded in like 35 minutes. I say that to say you are getting those warning signs. You've been getting those updates. Those updates in your life that are warning you, are you feeling like you're not enough? Are you feeling like you want to do more? Are you waking up not feeling fulfilled? Those are those warning signs. But what you're constantly doing is what I was doing, do it later. Pressing the do it later button, do it later button, do it later button. And so that's why you're not able to just go That's the way that the video just went and downloaded. You're not able to go after your potential, able to go after what you want to do because you haven't updated these things. And I don't care how long you've been doing something. You could have been a lash tech for the past 5 years, a nail tech for 6 years. When the last time you took another course or another class? It's been an update to the system. Yes, you've been going, and yes, you have had a skill and you've been applying it, but you always can update your skills. You always have to keep doing that. Okay, you have some kind of knowledge. When is the last time you learned a new skill to use that? Also, don't become complacent. You feel like you know something, you know, da da da. Oh, I don't have to learn how to do this. No, build up your skills and stuff. Build up your network. Don't act like you don't need to know new people. You do. You actually probably will benefit from being around other kind of people that bring other kind of stuff out of you. Your resources, update those. Like I'm telling you, you need to ask yourself, when is the last time you updated yourself? Because a lot of times you're living in old software. You're living in an old world and you're wondering why am I not reaching my potential? Why am I not doing? Because you haven't done an update. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful. Recently learned this framework in a book, and I was like, I just have to just explain this because it was just I knew I needed to do it. So I'm like, I know somebody else needs to do it for themselves as well. So as always, thank you guys for watching my videos. As I said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to come back for a new video every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And don't forget to also go below if you would like to sign up for my newsletter where you'll get updates about the videos, health and wellness content, and so much more. Thank y'all and have a great one.